everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus with Threshold of Hineni. And so I'm going to show you my journal and how I'm keeping track of the things that I'm coming up with for reframing the things that I miss about Bill and making those into things that will send me forward in my life. So this is a journal that I made for a design team project with last winter and or spring, I think, actually, and I had in mind that I was going to use it this summer, and I started using it, and then Bill died and I didn't feel like using it. But after a couple months, I picked it back up and started using it somewhat for my devotions. Like I wasn't really having devotions at the time. I could not study the Bible on my own. I'm still kind of there at that place. And so what I've been doing is I've been watching or listening to sermons or talks and taking notes on them. And then I use this at church for taking notes too. But I was looking at it just now, and I had, back when I was getting ready to use this, I think that this was like in June, I had watched a sermon by Timothy Keller, and this was before Bill died. He died in the middle of July. But I had watched this sermon, and I was so impressed with this one thing that he said. It just really struck me that I typed it out and I put it in my journal for the summer. And as I was reading it tonight before getting ready to do this video, it just struck me as really appropriate. And hear me out, because you may think it's really inappropriate when you first hear it, but let me explain it. Okay, so it says, and you got to remember that I've written down what Timothy Keller was saying when he was talking. So it's not like he's writing. This is not well written in some ways because he's talking. The thing you've got to keep in mind is The Hobbit is an adventure, but The Lord of the Rings is a quest. The Hobbit book is a book for children and is more lighthearted, and it's an adventure. And the way the literary critic defines adventure is, he says, an adventure is there and back again. It's an exciting thing that you choose and you go and you have your adventures and you have all your thrills and it spices up your life. Then you come home again and you pick your life up again where it left off. An adventure is there and back again. But a quest is not something you choose. It comes to you. You sense a requirement. You're called to it because of what's involved. And you never really come back from a quest. In a quest, you either die for the quest, or if you do come back, you're so charged that you never, in a sense, come back. You're never the way you were. You change so radically. Okay, and he preached that sermon April 22nd, 2001. So here's what I'm thinking with this, and I'm not sure that I have my thoughts completely formulated, but we'll see. I saw before what Bill and I were doing as a quest. It was something that we felt called to, and it was changing us, and we would never really come back from it. In reframing Bill's death, I naturally see his death as kind of a death for me. I mean, I think I'm coming a little bit away from what I felt at first, which was that I wish that I had died with him. There are still times that I feel that, but I don't feel that all the time. I am beginning to be okay with still being alive. I can't quite say that I'm grateful yet, but I think that I will be eventually. So reframing this is, it's not that Bill's death was a quest, but where I am now is a quest. It's kind of like what I felt when I read this was, I could picture Bill saying, "Honey, you have to stop being depressed and moping around. And it's time for you to move forward. It's time for you to take hold of life." And and I know that what he wants me to do is to see it as something positive, not his death, but moving forward, seeing that as something positive, moving forward with my life, figuring out what I'm going to do, what I'm going to be, and so on. So this just, I don't know if I've explained it very well, but this made it appropriate to me. I don't know, it just meant something, and I really don't feel like I've explained it very well. So I may have to wait until it bubbles up from my heart to my head a little bit better, and I can explain it. So anyway, it's got like all these pockets and stuff like all my journals do. And there are some places where I've written and some where I haven't yet. There's, like notes from talks that I've watched and stuff. And is there anything in here? I'm not sure. Yeah, some questions that I had that I wanted to answer for myself that I still need to go back and answer. Because sometimes when I'm watching a talk or a sermon or something and I'm taking notes, there are questions, like application questions that I think of that I want to think about more later, and so I write those down like on a card or something, and then I'll look at those later. Yeah, so here's like some more things. So, and then I've got like the things that I needed to do to get my house to where I could live here okay, and then some things that I was just journaling, and some more notes. These are from church and Wednesday night Bible study and church. So anyway, so the place that I decided to write down my list of reframing memories as ways to honor Bill by moving forward was in this little thing. And what it is here is what I have is like a whole bunch of pages that flip out, so that there's actually a lot of space to write in that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my list here, as I go along through this month. And right here, okay, so like the first thing that I had, remember I told you about taking care of myself, but I said that's too big of a thing, and so I'm going to break that into another sub list. So that's what I have here. So the first thing was what I did my video about yesterday, which was use kombucha bottles for tea, apple cider vinegar, and infused waters. Okay, and then I'll come up with other things for taking care of myself in that, things that have meaning to me as far as Bill goes. Okay, so the thing that I decided today, because on Thanksgiving I was in the Jackie Lawson website. Bill loved to send these internet cards to people, which was really fun because I love sending cards to people. I love sending encouraging mail to people, and I haven't done much of that lately because it takes so much time. And by lately, I mean for a few years. It takes a lot of time, and it costs money. You have to send postage and everything, where most of my communication with people these days is email or Facebook and stuff like that, social media, which is something that I kind of regret, because the only thing that I have from Bill to me that was written by hand was a note that he left me one day when I was sleeping because I had worked all night, and it said, "Gone to store 12:30, love you," or something like that. That's the only thing I have. Otherwise, I have in his handwriting, I've got a grocery list, I've got notes on bills, stuff like that. But that's the only thing that I have that he wrote to me personally, because we communicated a lot by messenger, on Facebook, and by email, and just stuff like that. We didn't write by hand very much. I did write some notes to him by hand, which are in his Bible. He treasured those and he kept them in his Bible, but I really regret not having things that he wrote. But I digress. He loved these Jackie Lawson cards that you could email to people, and they're really fun because some of them are interactive and things move around in them and everything. There's usually music, and she's a wonderful artist and everything. So he would often say, "Oh, so-and-so's birthday is coming up on such and such a date. Can you pick out a card?" Which I loved doing. I really enjoyed picking those out. And he didn't really enjoy that as much. He just enjoyed the fact that they were being sent. And he also kept track of all my students' birthdays. Whenever I found out somebody's birthday, I would let him know, and he kept track of it. And then he would buy a cupcake, which he would bring in during the class on their birthday or closest to their birthday, lit, and we would sing happy birthday. And in fact, the last people to see him alive before his accident, there were 4 guys who were with him after his accident while he was dying. But the last people to see him really alive, besides me, was one of my students and her mother, because he had brought in a cupcake for her. It was her birthday. And, sorry. Reframing these doesn't mean that I don't cry. Anyway, so I want to do something with those Jackie Lawson cards, because what he did was he bought a membership each year, and it's not very expensive. It's like $12 or $20 or something, and then you can send unlimited cards. So it's like, I want to make use of it. And I don't know if I'll renew it or not. If I use it a lot and I like doing it, then I probably will renew it. But I thought I want to do something with that. And it could be like, on Facebook, they tell you when it's somebody's birthday. So it could be that I send it to somebody for their birthday. But it could also be just out of the blue that I want to encourage somebody. So I'm going to try to send at least one of those cards a week to someone probably different each time. But there may be people that I repeat because they just need a lot of encouragement, or they just need to hear that I love them or whatever. But I'm going to make an effort to do that. And how that affects like who I am is because I am an encourager. I love to encourage people. And that's something that I've kind of lost when Bill died, because I was so needy and I needed people to encourage me. And I feel like I'm at the place now where I can start encouraging others. But it's actually kind of, it's almost like I kind of lost that a little bit. And so I feel like I need to kind of I don't know what the word is, rejuvenate it or something. I need to bring it back to life. So I'm going to try sending at least one Jackie Lawson card a week to somebody. And so that is my thing for today. So how I would suggest that you apply that for yourself would be to think, what is... Oh, one other thing I wanted to say about this is that I'm not sure that sending those cards once a week is something I'm going to want to continue. So I think that the membership that he has is good until like August or something, because I think that it renewed right after he died. And I didn't realize it, so I didn't stop it. So that gives me basically, what's that, 8 months, 9 months actually, because I still have December. 8 months, because I think it's the beginning of August. 8 months to try this out, try this on for size, and see if this is something that I want to have as part of who I am going forward, or if it's something that just distracts me from the other things that I'm supposed to do. I do need to be careful, because if I have too many things that I'm doing, those will keep me from working on my books, which I feel is the main thing that I need to be doing. That's the thing that the bulk of my time needs to go to, is writing my books. So I need to make sure that I'm not doing a whole bunch of little things that are going to keep me from accomplishing that. And that's why I didn't say, like, at first I was tempted to say I'll send a card a day, but I think I need to be a little bit more, I don't want to say realistic. I could realistically send one a day. It's just that it would keep me, when I add all these other things that I want to do, it'll keep me from writing. And so if I just say I'm going to send one a week, then I think that that's probably a good goal. And then, when it comes time to renew it, then I can decide, is this something that I want to continue with, that I think really is part of me and part of who God's calling me to be. And so I can revisit that then. So I may revisit it earlier too, and say, no, this really isn't something that's super important to me. It's something that I do want to do, but that's part of the thing is at my age, I have to narrow these things down. I have to decide what's the most important to me. So I'm going to try on some things, and this is one of the things that I'm going to try on. I used to send cards to people, I mean, real cards through the mail all the time, and I love doing that. And I used to send postcards to my grandchildren too, which I really enjoyed. But yeah, so it's just, so I'm going to try this out. So how can you apply this to yourself? I think I would say ask yourself if there's something that you used to do that somehow you got out of the habit of doing. And it doesn't have to be something to encourage somebody. It's just whatever. But what's something that you really enjoyed doing and was meaningful to you, but somehow you got out of the habit of it? And is that something that you want to try on again for a period? I would say make it at least 3 months to try something on, because that's a good time to get used to it and to see if it's really a good fit. You can make it longer than that if you want, but I wouldn't make it shorter unless you really, really can tell at some point this just really isn't a good fit for me. Then yeah, go ahead and drop it. But if it's something that you really want to try doing again, and it may be something that you're supposed to leave behind, so maybe not, but if it's something that speaks to you like this speaks to me, then try that out. Put that on your list as something that you're going to try on for size and see if it still fits you, or if you've somehow grown out of that and it's not really supposed to be part of your life again. And if you want to leave what that is in the comments below, I would love to hear people's ideas of things that they're wanting to do as a result of this. All right. I love you all. I know that was kind of short, but that's good because I have a hard time being short. All right. I love you all. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.